you now. And you've not started playing nicotine.
Good afternoon, students. This is another week. We have discussed on Unit 1 to 6. Today's topic is on escort and guide. We are going to discuss the interrelationship between escort and guide. Meanwhile, I had uploaded the link onto my portal for you to be able to see the ones that we have done in Unit 1 to 6. Kindly create time to check on it and also submit the assignment that I have given you to my mail or through the WhatsApp that we have created. By the time we go on the different slides on the topics we are to be discussing, you will understand the functions and the roles that the escort and guides perform in the destination. Happy viewing. Thank you. I am Dr. Mrs. Falabi. Today's topic is on guides and escorts, and that is Unit 7. Happy viewing. Guide and escort. These are the introductory on who guides are and who an escort is. From the pictorial that I depict, you can see the guide that is trying to communicate to the tourists on what they should do and not to do at their place of destination. It's just like briefing, telling them what they will meet on their tour of that place of interest. The objective of this study is to have the definition of a guide and a tour escort, and to understand the difference between a guide and an escort, and to have different types of guides and their roles. Then the last of the list is to give the detailing of what an escort is all about. Defining guides and escorts. Who is a guide and who is an escort? An escort is someone who is paid to spend time with you. An escort is supposed to perform the role of an company manager to a subject matter. Subject matter, that means a place of your interest or what you intend to do at that particular time. And a guide is a person specially employed to show tourists around places of interest. The role of an escort. Escort perform serious forms of role, and their role starts as soon as the tourist arrives, and it ends only with the departure of the tourist. An escort could be referred to as a service provider to accompany an individual or a group of people for sightseeing, for excursion, etc. It can also be referred to as guide who watches over visitors. An escort conducts educational activities for school children, and an escort is also responsible for the entire group during the journey and on to their destination. This will lead us to tourist expectation. What are the things that tourists are expecting at their place of expectation? Tourists expect to get or to know or to have to explore a new areas like a pilgrimage, trade expedition, individually or collectively. And this has started by 1758 by Coast and Kings, who was the first person to package the tour as a tour operator, and their business is still on up to date. After this man, we have another man whose name is called Thomas Cook. He was the first to conduct the tour to Paris and later around the Europe in the year 1840s. All these were the first agency to open their services to the public. Role of a guide. A guide has a series of roles to play, but because of time frame, I would like to mention just 4. One of it is to take research and planning a tour, preparing and giving presentation, office sightseeing and learning excursion, translating and interpreting. With the pictorial display, you will be able to see how the guide goes about their roles. What are their qualities? We have numbers of qualities that guides are supposed to possess. Part of it is to have the knowledge of the history of the region so as to be able to describe the monument or a place of interest or attraction to the visitors. To guide them, as the name implied, with the stylists and architectural details of all the monuments, and to have all the historical facts about the place of visit, such as dates of the construction, the agency responsibility for constructions, the time-taking design and the architect, and the purpose of the monument, etc. These are what is expected to be part of the qualities of the guide. A guide should not just come or construct any history of his of her own. He must be able to be concise and say precisely exactly what has transpired. Example of attractions that a guide might wish to lead one to is a museum and tourist attraction. We have other places like mountaineering, like waterfalls, etc. Places like tourist attractions and cultural places. But however, I will limit mine to museums and also to tourist attraction, which is a recreational center. Let's talk about the museum. Museum is a fantastic place where an object of historical, scientific, and aesthetics are being stored and exhibited. The pictorial depicted is there to enable you to see the arrangement of how a museum is supposed to be or had been. How the museum collect information? Museum collect information in various ways. It can collect their information through individual or through means of purchasing or borrowing, through antique leaders or auctions, through loan or through exploration and excavation and or exchange. This will lead us to the functions of a guide in a museum. Function of a guide in a museum are 4 or 5 point functions. One of the most important functions is a museum must be someone that is knowledgeable, educator. He must be able to communicate. He must be able to give an insight and to assist anyone that comes for assistance. Being a research place, being a place where a lot of artifacts are being kept. A museum or a guide in a museum is supposed to be an entertainer. You must be able to have an ambience and accommodate guests that come for a visit. He must be able to solve problems when it's been asked. A guide must be able to translate and interpret images that are in the museum, and also he or she must be able to be observable in the environment. For the recreational centers, as I said, I would like to discuss briefly on wildlife. Wildlife is a potential and economic place where tourism potentiality is being displayed. Wildlife means living things, especially mammals and animals, are in their own habitable environment or being domesticated. Briefly, history of the wildlife includes that is an area where all humans being living things found in all ecosystems. I would like to talk a little bit about escorts too. An escort in a tour must be a person that must have a knowledge of what he wants to do. And in view of that, he must be able to involve in a careful preparation and planning. An escort should have the following. He must have the rate of success with similar tour in the past. He must have a broadened mind of the scope of the tour with the help of the experience gathered by the others. And he or she must be able to work out any problems that might emanate while on the tour or that has had remedy before on the tour. Details of expected preparation from an escort. Advanced preparation is an essential feature of a successful escorting. An escort must have the information that is needed in connection with the tour and where to get that. It must have the understanding of what items to become part of the preparation of the tour and how he or she will be able to obtain them. He must be able to appreciate the need of the tour members and how best to meet them. He must know what basic information needs to be supplied to tour members. There are stages of preparation required from a guide. One of the stages are a checklist to know the numbers of people that are going, how are they going, is it through rail, is it through transport, or any other forms of means of transport. You must have the tour itinerary. Where will they go in day 1, in day 2, at what particular time that they will leave the place of their interest to another place. And also you must be able to give them the commentary of wherever they had visited and give them the travel tips. With this, you should be able to have time to do your self-assessment. And the questions that I will ask is definition of the following, that is the guide and the escort, and also come up with their functions. In conclusion, in this unit, we have discussed about who a guide is and what an escort is all about, their definitions, their techniques, and the details of escorting a tour. Last but not the least is the summary. That is, guiding and escorting are the most exciting features that tourists enjoy while they are on tour, and it is part of the tourism profession that must be depicted or displayed when having visitors around. Thank you, Abibu.